Hello all and welcome to this video where we show you how to run kubectl on Windows and interact with the Nautilus cluster. So first thing is on your Windows computer, you go to nrp.ai, which is NRP's website. You can log in with your single sign-on. You can see a login button here and you can hit docs and get access. Get access and log in. This part is to show you how to become part of a namespace, either as a user or an admin. Then once you do that, you can access the cluster via kubectl. So first step is to install kubectl. You can see the install text here has a link and install kubectl on Windows. You can see there's multiple ways to do it. We're going to go for the easiest, which is the binary directly from the Kubernetes releases page. So Darwin is Mac OS, Linux, what we want is Windows. On Windows, AMD 64, and kubectl. This is the binary that we want. Version, this is latest, is the time of making the video. You don't need to match the clusters version, you can just download latest. So this is what we want. We're gonna right click and save link as, and we're gonna save it in downloads as kubectl. And this is our file. We're gonna take it, copy it, go to C, program files. We're gonna create a new directory and just call it Kubernetes. Of course, the naming here is a little arbitrary, but I like to call it Kubernetes because it's more organized, and we hit continue because it needs admin privileges, and it copies over our file here. One main thing to note here, it should be called kubectl, nothing else, .exe. If it's named anything else, the process will fail. So we need it to be called kubectl. KUBECTL, and if you show file extensions, it should say .exe. If you don't, you can see type application. Next step is we run back to our docs. Second step is installing kube login. You can't skip this step, otherwise you won't be able to authenticate. And either the install link or the download button takes me to the official kube login docs. You can see for Windows, there's multiple ways to install it, including Homebrew, Crew, and Chocolatey. Sorry for that's in general. Homebrew does not apply to Windows, but for Windows, you can see there's also GitHub releases, which is the easiest way to download it directly. So we're going to go for GitHub releases and 1.34.1 matches our client. Scroll down to assets and Windows. My architecture is AMD 64. That's what I'm going to go for. You can see here back to our downloads. This is the zip file I downloaded. And this is our XQ. So I'm going to copy it. And I'm going to run back to the same directory that I called Kubernetes and paste it in the same one. Now, just like how this needs to be called kubectl for this to work, this has a naming convention. Otherwise, it will fail. So we're going to rename this kubectl dash oidc underscore login. So that's kubectl dash oidc, that's short for OpenID Connect, underscore login. .exe if you show file extensions, and I'm gonna hit enter. If it's something else, the steps won't work. So after doing this, what we need to do is add both Kubernetes, the kubectl, and OIDC login to what we call path. So path is an environment variable in OS that tells the OS where to search for binaries and tools and so on. So we need to tell our operating system, look in the folder called Kubernetes inside of program files. The way to do so is very easy. If you open the start menu and type in path, we edit the system environment variables. That's what we want to do. And once it starts, you can see in advanced environment variables, we're going for user variables. This is my username, and path is what I want to edit. So edit. You'll see I already created it, but had I not created it before, it would look like this. I would have entries and then blank lines. So I have my entries. I'm going to create a new entry, and I'm going to paste the entire path to this directory where both of these exist. So So if I click on the icon here, I can copy it and I can run back, new, and paste it. Hit OK, another OK, and the final OK. Now I can open my command prompt and run back to my docs. So I installed kubectl, I installed kubelogin. These steps are from Windows Subsystem for Linux. They don't apply to us, so we don't have to worry about them. We have to worry about the config files. So I'm going to download the config file. You can see it in my downloads. It needs to be called config, not anything else. I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to run back to my home directory. So in C, users, my username, and here I need to have a folder called .cube. If it doesn't exist, you should create it and make sure it's called .cube. The dot is very important. Otherwise, the naming convention is what Kubernetes looks for. Otherwise, it's going to fail. And I'm going to open this folder and I'm going to paste my config file here. And once my config file is here, I can follow the rest of the steps. So to verify that my kubectl is there and my Windows sees it and it's reading the config file correct, I have my command prompt. I can paste in this link. You can see it says cluster Nautilus. If you have multiple clusters, you can run this command to set Nautilus as your current config. So your default name, cluster that it uses. Now for the moment of truth, kubectl get nodes is a kubectl command that tells Kubernetes list the nodes in my cluster. So list the hosts. Nodes in Kubernetes are the physical hosts, the servers. So you need to authenticate with the cluster to be able to list the nodes. And to authenticate with the cluster, we use Authentic, which is a platform that goes through CI logon. So to authenticate you to your Kubernetes kubectl is going to use your browser. And we're gonna see it here. If we copy over this one and paste it here, moment of truth, give it some time. You can see it wants to access some features. I'm going to allow it through the Windows firewall, allow access, and you can see authenticated. You can close this window. I can run back here. You can see it listed all my nodes in my cluster. That means I'm authenticated. And now I can run back, run the rest of the steps. If I type in kubecontrol, get pods, it's going to say no resources found in the default namespace. The default namespace is the namespace just there. It's not your namespace or mine. So unless you specify explicitly the namespace that you're part of, it's going to assume you're talking about the default namespace. So you can set the default. So it's not the actual namespace called default, but your default by running this command, step 7, and typing in your namespace. So mine is going to be MFSADA, for example, and you can see I don't have to specify it anymore. Now, just an extra step here is K9S, which is an optional tool. It's a command line tool that makes Kubernetes sort of easier to deal with through a console sort of GUI. So you can scroll down to the bottom, you can see Lens, which is another tool, and K9S. K9S, this is their website once you click on it, and installation. And you can see binaries for Linux, Windows, Mac are available on the release page. So this is their latest. Click on it, same thing like kubelogin. And scroll down to assets and look for Windows. Windows AMD 64. Run back to my downloads. Wait for it to download. And it's done. And I'm going to grab the executable, run back to Windows, the program files, Kubernetes, where I placed my executables. Now this folder is in my system path. It sees the tools that are in it. So as long as this is called K9S, my computer will see K9S in Windows. So type in K9S, and K9s or K9S talks to kubectl, so it sees your config file, and you don't have to do any additional configuration. You can see as soon as it launched me right into my namespace because kubectl is already configured.